bag.
Good morning, everyone. This is June the 18th, Tuesday, 2024, and we are in BBIS second semester compulsory English class, where we are going to start a new essay on cultural identities and their importance in understanding intercultural communication issues. As you can see, the essay is written by Mary Jane Collier. So let me open the essay. I'll invite the presenters. Viraz has not yet come. So this essay is about now the class is too noisy and I am uncomfortable. Hello? I am not comfortable with the noise. And I feel that you are not paying attention. If you are not interested to listen to me, I'll sit down there, I'll call you, and you speak, I'll listen to you. Either you teach, I listen, or I teach and you listen. When teachers begin the class, you are supposed to pay attention. You can't ignore. No, you can't ignore. That's not possible. Okay? So I was saying, this essay is about communication. What is communication? Right now in this class, we are having a communication. And in this classroom communication, there are two sides, the teacher and the students. And what happened a minute ago? I started speaking. You didn't listen to me. You were busy talking among yourselves. I got angry. I stopped teaching you and I scolded you. Then you listened to me. This is an example of conflict. This is an example of conflict. What is conflict? Conflict is a situation when two parties cannot go together for some reasons. Earlier, when I started teaching, you were making noise and we could not go together with teaching. I stopped. And I had to remind you to listen to me. That's conflict. That's communication conflict. Now, the question comes, why was there a conflict in this class this morning? Why did the students make noise when the teacher started the lesson? It has a long answer. It may have many answers. But Collier says that if you want to understand why there is miscommunication, misunderstanding, why there is conflict when two parties are having communication, then you need to understand the concept of cultural identity. What is cultural identity? Cultural identity is what you do in public, why you do it that way in public. Cultural identity is how you want to be in public and why you want to be that way in public. Cultural identity is what you know about yourself in public and others. So you want to do things in certain way, and you want others to do things in certain way. You want to be in certain way, and you want others to be in certain way. You want to know certain things, and you want others to know certain things. For example, this morning, I wanted to teach this class in a controlled way. I said, I'll speak, you listen. I wanted to be strict, and I wanted to know if you are listening to me. This is a classroom culture. We have a classroom culture identity, cultural identity. So what is identity? How you do things, how you live, how you keep yourself, what you know about yourself and about others, how you do yourself and others, how you be yourself and others, how you know yourself and others. This is what makes cultural identity. And Collier is not talking about classroom communication particularly. She is talking about intercultural problem. She is talking about intercultural problem. And the context of this essay is, why did she write this essay? What is the situation in which this essay emerged? She says that in American universities or campuses, there is a problem. What is the problem? The problem is administrators have proposed to close what? Women's study programs. They have proposed to close what? Ethnic study programs. They have proposed to close what? Cultural centers. They have proposed to close what? International student halls. So Collier says recently college administrators have come up with a proposal that they want to shut down women's study programs, ethnic study programs, cultural centers, as well as international student halls. There's a proposal. Now whenever universities take a decision, it invites debate. There are people who support the decision, there are people who oppose the decision. Now, there are some people who say, this is not good, don't do it. Why? They argue that it is against identity, it is against diversity. Because when you promote women's study, when you promote ethnic study, when you promote cultural centers, it promotes cultural diversity. It promotes cultural diversity, they say. And if you close them, it will harm cultural diversity. Now, what do those people who want to close them say, they say that when you separate immigrant students from the mainstream students, it leads to lack of cultural interaction and harms cultural assimilation and cultural integration. So the debate is between the two sides. One that supports cultural diversity, those who say we should promote cultural diversity, we should promote diverse cultures in America. There are people who say we should promote cultural diversity. How can we promote cultural diversity? By encouraging women's studies programs, by running ethnic study programs, by running cultural centers for immigrant and foreign students, by running international halls for international students. So people support cultural diversity. And this cultural diversity is associated with cultural identity. Cultural identity. So they argue that every student should give an opportunity to protect and promote his or her cultural identity in America. One side. The other side says no, we shouldn't promote cultural diversity. If we promote cultural diversity, it will not encourage cultural assimilation. What is cultural assimilation? What is cultural integration? Cultural assimilation is the idea that different cultures should come together, interact more, and different cultures should melt down with the mainstream culture. It's like ice cream, it melts down, it becomes one with the mainstream. This is the salad concept of culture. In salad you have the carrot, you have the radish, you have the cucumber, you have the onion, you have the green, I don't know what to call. You can see, they are together, but you can see them separate. They are together, but you can see them separate. That is cultural assimilation as salad. Together, but you can see them clearly. Now here they say no, that's not a good idea. The foreign cultures, I shouldn't use foreign word, the immigrant cultures should assimilate and they should finally follow American European culture and they should become one with European culture. So they say that if you keep such separatist programs which separate students from many students, then you can't promote cultural integration and cultural assimilation. And then she says that if you want to understand this debate, what debate? Should we promote cultural diversity and identity? Or should we promote cultural assimilation and integration? I repeat, what is the debate? Should we promote cultural diversity and cultural identity in American campuses? or should we promote cultural assimilation and cultural integration in American campuses? So there are people who say we should promote cultural assimilation and integration, therefore we should close these programs. Now there are people who say no, we should promote cultural diversity and cultural identity, so we should run these programs. And there is a conflict. And there is a conflict between the two sides in the campus. Now, Collier says, if you want to understand this conflict, read my essay. I'll tell you how to understand. And she says that this is the problem of intercultural communication. Now, when you say intercultural communication, you know that in America, people from all around the world go. So, there are people from collectivistic cultures like Nepal, and there are also people from individualistic cultures like Britain, for example. So, when people from two different cultural orientations come together, they have different assumptions about what is right and wrong. Chances are there will be misunderstanding, miscommunication leading to conflict. And she says that because there is conflict, we need to understand the cultural identities of these groups. If we better understand the cultural identities of these different cultural groups in American campuses, then we will better understand their perspective. Collier says that the best way to minimize intercultural communication conflict is understanding the other's perspective and adjusting yourself according to the other's perspective. I repeat, how can you best resolve intercultural communication conflicts? Collier says, you can best resolve intercultural communication conflicts by understanding the perspective, the outlook, the attitude, the behavior, the values, assumptions of the other cultures. In other words, you can reduce conflicts if you properly understand the cultural identities of the other cultures. Once you understand the cultural identities of the other cultures, you will be able to adjust your behavior in such a way that it fits their expectation. And if you meet the expectation of the co-actor, chances are there will be less conflicts. तपाईहरु जना अघिबाट व्यस्त हुनुहुन्छ के भयो हो बोलिराख्नु भएको छ त्यहाँ के हेरिराख्नु भएको हो तपाईहरु तीनजना अघिबाट मैले वाच गरिरहेको छु क्लास 15 भयो क्लास पढाएर पनि बोलिराख्नु भएको छ के बोलिराख्नु भएको तपाईहरु ध्यान दिनु लाग्यो कि तपाईहरु आफै के गर्नुहुन्छ आकान लगाएर बस्नु तपाईँ क्लास बस्दा नि हेडफोन लगाएर बस्नु सुन्नु तपाईँ मेरो क्लासमा बस्दाखेरि इयरबड लगाएर बस्न मिल्दैन सुन्नु भएको छ सबैजनाले भोलिबाट म पनि एउटा लगाएर पढाउन आउँछु नि त डिसोले पढाउँछु नि त भइहाल्यो नि भोलिबाट म पनि एउटा लगाएर आउँछु नि त हुँदैन म गीत पनि सुन्छु पढाउँछु तपाईँ म फेरि दया भन्दैछु मेरो क्लासमा मैले पढाउँदाखेरि इयरबड लगाएर बस्न मिल्दैन यदि मैले भने लगाउनुहोस् न मैले कुनै गीत सुन्न भन्नु ठिक छ फाइन हुन्छ मैले क्लासमा कुनै कुरो सुन्न भन्छु नि त फाइन अदरवाइज अरू बेला मिल्दैन म तपाईँलाई किन अब्जर्भेसन गरेँ तपाईँ तीनजना अघिबाट बोलिराख्नु भएको छ मेरो कुरा सुनिराख्नु भएको छैन त्यो तपाईँसँग ल अहिले त मसँग कुरा तपाईँ तीनजना मसँग कुरा गर्नु भयो क्लास सकिन्छ ओके प्लिज डु नट डिस्टर्ब मी आई बी फ्युरियस तपाईँले मलाई अहिले पढाउन दिनु भएन भने म एकदमै रिसाउँछु म पढाउन खोजिरहेको छु बुझाउन खोजिरहेको छु नि र बुझाउन के चाहिन्छ कोअपरेसन चाहिन्छ तपाईँ के कोअपरेसन सुनिदिने सधैँ हामी सुन्नु तपाईँ पनि गर्नुहुन्छ नि त अहिले म बोलिरहेको छु सुन्नु पऱ्यो न तपाईँ सुन्नु होला भने बुझ्नु so I said the best way to resolve intercultural communication conflicts is to understand cultural identities. Now, what Collier does, if you see in the second paragraph, she beautifully gives an example of her cultural identity. This is how my book looks when I finish reading the essay for the class. This is my PDF copy, I read on my laptop, and this is how my book looks when I finish reading. For every single sentence, I compose a question on what is the writer's intercultural communication orientation based on. Then answer. My orientation intercultural communication is based on where I come from and where I have been. So what I do as I read, for every single sentence, I compose a question to which the sentence can be an answer. And when I write the question, the idea gets memorized in my mind and I understand. And your job is, I will mail you this PDF file. You will copy all these questions in a separate copy with your hand. And you will read the paragraphs, find the answers and write the answer with the hand. यो सबै प्रश्न तपाईले हातले सार्नुहुन्छ कपीमा र फेरि हातले उत्तर लेख्नुहुन्छ यो मैले सघाउने हातले सो भोलिसम्म सघाउँछु पढेर क्वेसन बनाएर and I'll mail you the file. Okay, so read it. So here she tells what is cultural identity with her own example. For example, cultural identity is the place you come from. Where you come from decides your cultural background. If you come from Bhaktapur and if you come from Dadin, you have two different cultural orientations. So place is culture. Where I have been, the places you have traveled decides your culture. If you have traveled many countries around the world, you have different culture. If you have not traveled outside Kamdu Valley, you have different culture. So where you come from, where have you been, then look, your race determines culture. I am Aryan. He may be Kiran. He may be Mongol. He may be Rai, Limbu, etc. Rai, Limbu is not a race, that's ethnicity. Aryan versus Mongol is race. So your race, your nationality makes your culture. Nepali, so we belong to Nepali culture. Your skin color also makes your culture. White versus brown. Then, I don't know why they are doing this. I don't know how this is done. Okay. On the screen, it's not so. So your skin, your economic class defines culture. Rich, middle class, poor class. What else? What else? Your age also defines culture. Culture of aged people. A class में और 56 में तो भाई 18 में होने से हमको तो मिला से नहीं तो भाई बड़ी एनर्जी थी वो लगती एनर्जी अरे चक्चक करने पर नहीं चलने पर नहीं ध्यान देने सब नहीं कान में रखे लगा सुनने पर नहीं बोल चलने पर दौड़ के बानी तो 56 जब भी सुन पर सब नहीं is right then with whom do you live? I lived with a lot of Indians in India for 20 years. That shapes my culture. Then where do you live? What kind of places? Big towns, small towns? A person living in Kathmandu Valley versus a person living in Jumla village. That shapes culture. Then traveling. If you have traveled to many countries, like say been to Africa, Study shapes your culture. What have you read? What degrees have you got? Right? She has studied ethnic and gender identity. Then, okay. Look, her study. She has done a lot of study about the topic, cultural topic, right? Then, what have you participated in? So, in this paragraph, Mary Jane Collier draws her cultural profile. She draws her cultural profile. In the other class last week, I asked students to write their cultural profile, copying this paragraph. Okay, now the background, right? So she explains what is cultural identity. Now look what she says here. Very important point. If we ignore our cultural and intercultural communication processes, it has profound consequences. This is a central claim she makes. What claim she makes? You can't ignore. What can't you ignore? You cannot ignore intercultural communication processes. So she begins by saying that, look what is she doing? She is showing the significance of a topic. She says if you do not understand the intercultural communication, it has consequences. What consequences? Go down and check. What consequences? Look here. She says you will have conflict. You will have conflict. As I had conflict in this class in the very beginning. अब गालीहरू पनि भयो उसको बल बस्थे मोबाइल बस्थे अहिले कराउन आउँछ अब कर्म सुरु भइसक्यो Look, you will have conflict. If we no, I don't receive the call. Let it ring. I don't receive the call when the class is running. Okay. So Collier says, if you don't understand how people communicate, if you don't understand their cultural identities, if you don't understand their values, their expectations, their assumptions, you will have conflict. And then she gives example, like conflict in the Middle East, between the Muslims and the Christians, conflict in Bosnia and Herzegovina, between Christians and others, conflict in Ireland, right? She gives example. And then she says that if we don't understand intercultural communication properly, it will create a lot of problems. We will suffer from racism, we will suffer from classism, we will suffer from sexism, right? Then she says, we will continue to believe that our truth is the one and only truth. What will happen? If you don't understand the culture of the other people, for example, look in India what is happening. Muslim versus Hindu. Hindus say their God is the only God. Muslims are saying their Allah is the only God. Why? Because both Hindus and Muslims are not willing to look into each other. They are not willing to understand the cultural identity of the other. Muslims are saying, no, we don't want to study Hindus' culture. Hindus are saying, no, we don't want to study Muslim culture. Right? So when you don't study the other, you wrongly think your side is the truth. For example, let me do an experiment here and show you. Miss, could you tell what is the number on my palm? 9. Okay. So she says it's 9. So could you tell what is the number? 6. Oh God, look. 6. Look. It is the same number on my palm, Okay, class, tell what is the number?
6.
6. Now tell what is the number? 9. Now what is happening? The truth is same. The truth is same. But its meaning changes when our perspectives change. When she looks at this number from her standpoint, it's 9 for her and she's right. But when he looks at this number from his standpoint, it's 6, he's right.